Lang- Welcome to our lecture on language and meaning construction. There are two parts in defining a word, the definitions and the definiendum, where the definiendum is the term being defined, and the definitions is the words that define the definiendum. A term is a referring expression in a language made up of more words. Example, you and Beethoven. The reference of the term is what the term refers to. The list of terms listed above refers to an organization and an animal. Thus, the word reference also. The set of things the term refers to is an extension of the term. Definition. Thus, reportive definition is known as the lexical definition. It reports the existing meaning of a term. For example, a prime number, any integer greater than 1, indivisible by 1 in itself. A correct reportive definition shouldn't be too wide or too narrow. It is too wide if the definition applies to things and that the definition doesn't apply to. We also have the stipulative definition, which is used to assign a new meaning to a form, regardless of the fact that it has an existing meaning. For example, if one agrees to define an abbreviated word like BMW to mean be my wife, and once this new meaning is accepted, one can say Volkswagen is releasing another BMW, thus be my wife, which doesn't necessarily mean the definition of the car, but rather the stipulative meaning of the brand of the car. Also, we have a precising definition, which is something in between a reportive and stipulative definition. Thus, a precisive definition is to make the meaning of a term more precise. For example, if one wants to give children a free entrance to a fair, it makes an ad that says a kids fee for children is free. This ad will be considered vague since it did not specify the age to which a person can be considered as a child to have a free entry to the fair. To avoid disputes and misunderstanding, the company can define a child to mean one below the age of 15, and this definition is stipulative because one wouldn't see why the age of 15 should be chosen as a cutoff point. Also, we have extension definition and intension definition, where extension definition is a set of things to which a concept applies, and intension definition is the infant of a concept, thus its real meaning. We also have avoidable definition, also under which we have circular definition and obscure definitions. We also have techniques in definitions like synonymical definitions, ostension definition, and generous differential definitions. To which synonymical definition is to define a word, concept, or concept by giving another concept that has exactly the same meaning. And ostension definition is explaining of terms by using examples, instances, or scenarios. We also have misconceptions in definitions. That's a misconception that dictionaries always provide the most accurate and authoritative definitions to word. And also, to know the real meaning of a term, its original meaning must be found. This is also an etymological fallacy, where sometimes depend on the circumstances they are being used in or applied, and not how their origin defines them. Inappropriate use of languages that hinders good communication. There is a referential ambiguity, and this arises when the pronoun referred to is not properly addressed. For example, Kate hit Elaine with her phone and she dies. The she in the statement might either mean Kate or Elaine, which poses the question of who in particular. Also, you have the syntactic ambiguity. This is when there is more than one way to interpret an expression. For example, Elaine saw Kate on the floor with a telescope. The question that raises is, did Elaine use the telescope to see Kate on the roof, or while she went to the roof, she saw Kate with the telescope? In the context, there is more than one way to interpret the statement. Another to interpret the statement. Also, we have vagueness. A statement is vague if it is not clear, even though the word vague and ambiguous are all similar. Ambiguity is more precise than a vague word. Vague statements have the tendency to be true, even though the statement is not precise, but with an ambiguous statement of the statement being false. We also have distortion, and distortion is the inappropriate emotional connotation. Distortion is a matter of misconstructing the meaning of words, such as giving emotional connotations. For example, when one says, mistake is a valuable learning opportunity. In this example, the presence of distortion makes it possible for words to be reconstructed. Also, we have rectification, which is a category of a mistake, and rectification, the short form is rectify, rectify, which comes from the Latin word res, which means thing. Rectification is basically the act of treating an abstract idea or property as if it were a concrete physical object. For instance, the statement, the truth wants to be told, personifies the word truth, since it's only a person who possesses such quality. However, it's not complex to guess what the speaker is trying to say. It could be, it's important to tell the truth, or people will be interested to know the truth. There are characteristics of rectification, which are rectification does not necessarily have to be objectionable. It also increases dramatic impact, and also it has a useful literary device. It is also a useful literary device. Yes. Empty meaning is defined as a case in which words are used without serving any useful purpose or providing little information. Now, so we have a basic logic, and a basic logic is derived from logic. And logic may be defined as the science of reasoning. It could also be understood broadly as the systematic study of the principles of good reasoning. The core of logic is about consistency and deduction, both of which are dispensable for everyday thinking, not to mention scientific research and legal reasoning. Logic embodies what we call deductive logic. Deductive logic is namely about consistency of statements and beliefs, as well as validity of the argument. Components of logic are consistency, entailment, logical equivalence, logical connectives. Consistency forms the foundation of the ideology behind any basic logic. Consistency is also the quality of achieving a level of performance which does not vary greatly in quality over time. Inconsistent statements are also known as contraries. Consistency is one that does not entail in contradiction. The rules of consistency. Entailment is also a logical sequence. It describes the relationship between statements that hold true when one statement logically forms. When one statement logically flows from one or more statements. This philosophical analysis of logical concepts involves the questions in what terms does the conclusion follow from its Airplane is stronger than that's an airplane. A stronger statement provides more information. At the same time, the answer to higher risk of being fooled. Care should be taken also of the opposite situation in which people fail to qualify their claims for various reasons. For example, some people believe sharks cartilage can kill cancer, and there is even a book called Sharks Don't Get Cancer, but it turns out that sharks do get cancer. The book does acknowledge that, but it says that a qualified claim such as almost no sharks get cancer will not make a real book title. Guess what? Sharks can even get cancers in their the conjunction is true when both conjunctions are true. Conditional conditionals are of special importance because they are used to formulate rules and general laws. By